cluttered garage. I'm really glad you're here. A place where we can laugh and talk and days are filled with cheer. The clouds and sun may come and go, but one thing's always clear. Welcome back, my friend. You know I'm really glad you're here. Yeah.
Hey, welcome back, my friends. Welcome to live stream number 118 on May 15th, 2023. Can you believe it? It's the middle of May and it's nice and sunny out still. Last night we noticed that it was still light at 8:40 p.m. and nothing makes me happier. Well, I don't know if nothing makes me happier, but that makes me pretty happy. But I'm also really happy that you are here because that makes me happy too. So here we are, and another Monday night, if you can believe it. The time just keeps on going by. Well, tonight, though, we're going to be talking about what our favorite tractor attachments are. We never solved the question of the difference between an attachment and an implement. Some say the attachment goes on to the three-point hitch, and the implement is something you pull behind. Some think that one of them has to do with the PTO, or the other one might be like a plow or a box blade that isn't hooked to the PTO. I don't know. I think they're interchangeable. No pun intended, because they are interchangeable, but implements and attachments are, in fact, interchangeable. So we're going to be talking about that. I'm just going to be reading some comments and hearing what you have to say about that. And of course, we'll continue talking about tractors and gardening and projects and life in the country. A lot of you plant gardens, and we're behind this year. We're not actually planting any vegetables, but we're planting some flowers. I was out there with the tiller yesterday and threw down some flower seeds. A little bit late this year, but the weather has not been really great for that. Plus, I've been a little busy myself, so I'm just making excuses. That's all I got to say about that. But listen, if it's your first time here, please say hi in the live chat so that we know it's your first time here, and let us know how you found the channel. Was it YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, any one of those many, many social media platforms? We'd like to know how you found us, and welcome you to the MCG family, getting together every Monday night live from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. We'll wrap up by 8 p.m. tonight. While you're watching, though, if you would hit that thumbs up button, we always do appreciate that. It makes me happy. And then later, we'll be doing this sticker giveaway. We all look forward to the sticker giveaway, and somebody's going to win these shiny, shiny stickers. So that's fun as well. Upcoming reminder to mark your calendars. For May 29th, we've got Lee Clonsher, photographer and author, who's going to be joining the live stream. Lee is publishing a new book. He has published several books about motorcycles, tractors, a lot of tractor content, and his new book is about the Farmall tractor series, and it's kind of the history of that. It's not even out yet, so it's in print, or what do you call it now? In production, I guess you'd say. Right now, coming out, I believe, in September. So Lee's going to talk to us about his new book and about his other books too. But look him up on the internet. It's the Octane Press, and they have some really great tabletop books, coffee table books with a great history and a lot of great pictures, because, again, he's a photographer as well. Also, while you're marking your calendar, while you're in there marking it, whether you do it with a pencil or on your phone, mark your calendar for June 12th as well. Remember John Furness, the Blind Woodsman. I finally connected with John and his wife Annie, and they are excited to join us once again on June 12th. And this time Annie may join John. I've been trying to encourage her to do that. She likes to be behind the camera more than in front of the camera, but she's an artist, very talented too, and she is definitely John's sidekick, and just, you know, she's half of what John is. They're a great team and a great couple. So I hope that Annie will join us as well. But that'll be June 12th. So get ready for that. We're doing something special with that live stream, by the way. And I'm really excited about this because, you know, if you're familiar with John's story, if you saw his live stream with me in the past, if you didn't, I'll give you a recap. John is blind. That's why he's called the blind woodsman. What he does, though, is he makes woodworking projects, mostly bowls. He likes to use the lathe. That's his primary piece of equipment. And he makes bowls and pots and interesting pieces of art with a lathe. He's 100% blind. He is a suicide survivor. So his story about survival is just great. And he lives with a strong purpose in his life now, and has kind of found his calling, and is doing really well. So we like to encourage John, and John is certainly encouraging for us as well. So I'm really looking forward to that conversation. But what we're doing different, I was thinking about John's story and his triumph over tribulation and overcoming the difficulties in his life, mental health awareness. And you remember we did the garden video last summer, might have even been 2 summers ago now, with Ranch Hope, which is a local school for troubled youth who have been in not even troubled youth, but they've been in difficult situations, difficult family situations, and oftentimes no fault of their own. They're just displaced, and the ranch gives them also a sense of purpose, teaches them basic life lessons, life skills, and they're all in their teens, and John he survived the suicide attempt when he was 16 years old. So I thought, you know what, he may be able to relate, or these it's all boys at this particular location, so the boys may be able to relate to him, and I thought it'd be neat for them to really hear his story. So here's what we're going to do. We've reached out to the ranch, and the boys, a few, just a handful, are going to submit some questions that we can present to John that night. And additionally, they're going to have an assembly that evening at the school in their multi-purpose room, and they're going to project the live stream so that the students can watch it live. And we'll give them a shout out. And we want to encourage these young people, that they can get beyond their current situation, that their situation doesn't have to define them. And so I'm excited that we can reach a different audience, the audience we have here, but then maybe reach some other people as well. I'm excited about that. I think that's going to be kind of fun, kind of different. So we've got that coming up. And during tonight's live stream, if you're new to the live stream, please use the live chat and type your question out. Start out with the word question followed by your question, and we'll see if we can answer your questions. How was that for a long intro? So many comments here tonight. And I saw that there was some, you heard about my wrist. And I don't want this to be about me. I see that Daniel missed a step, and he's actually watching from the hospital tonight. So Daniel, please get better, my friend. He twisted an ankle, and that's not a good place to be. And then Kent is on his 3rd dislocated shoulder. So we're just falling apart, guys. What can I say? What happened to me, if you haven't heard, and if you hadn't seen the videos, or were here for last week's live stream, I was at Lowe's, and I got out of my truck, and I went to walk into the store, and I walked between these 2 pro parking signs that were standing close together. They have these real wide bases, and I was looking forward, not down, and I tripped right over that base, and I went straight down. I'd kind of like to see the video. I checked my truck's dash cam, but it had already turned off by that time. But I would have liked to have seen what happened, because I'm thinking what happened was, since there were signs side by side, I think my left foot hit one of the bases of the sign, and then normally you would trip, and your right foot would go out to catch you. So I think what probably happened was my left foot, I think, hit one of the signs, and then when I went to step forward to catch myself, I think my right foot hit the other sign, and I just went straight down. Didn't do a face plant, but I did a hand plant and a knee plant. So my left knee still has kind of kind of swollen fluid on the knee or whatever, but that's kind of okay. And in my hand, underneath of this brace, it's bruised. I hit so hard, it bruised the palm of my hand, and it actually bruised the back of my hand where it fractured the bone. That's what happened, is I got a fracture, but I don't have to wear a cast. I have to wear this for another, well, now it's less than 4 to 6 weeks. It's 3.5 to 5.5 weeks, whatever it is. But it's actually feeling a little better today. It was actually hurting more yesterday, and this happened a week ago, Monday, a week ago. So it was actually hurting worse, I think, but now anyway, it's all right. It's fine. But for those of you who, Daniel and Kent and anybody else who's dealing with some issues, I'm sorry to hear that, and we want to send out best wishes for you to get better quickly. Let me take a look at some comments here, and then we'll talk about some of those comments. So, yeah, okay. So let's talk. I see a lot of comments here. Grapple and backhoe. Brutal Bob is saying favorite attachment. That sounds good to me. And I see. Let me just scroll back a little bit. Another grapple from Bob Purrs there. Look at that, Tony AR grapple. Looks like grapple's winning this already. Just in the comments here. And I have to say, you see me talk about it on my videos, that the grapple really is one of my all-time favorite attachments. It really is. They all have their purpose, and it's like whatever one I'm using currently is my favorite one, because it's fitting the purpose. I was saying I just used the rototiller yesterday, and I'm tilling up this area, and I'm like, man, I love this thing. Like, they just have such a specific purpose, obviously. Like the tiller, I used to have one of those walk behind tillers. I was so happy that I bought one. I think it was, I don't know, it wasn't even a 24-inch. I don't think it was the little thing, but it was pretty big and pretty pricey. It was like a $700 tiller. It was the walk behind type with the tines in the back and the big tractor tires in the front. And I thought, this is really going to meet, and it just beat you up trying to use that thing. And then it would just do this little 12-inch path or so, or maybe it was a 24, whatever it was. It didn't do a whole lot. I thought it was going to be one of those ones where you just kind of casually walk behind it, and it just tills up the ground, but not so lucky. So I had that for a couple years, and what it was nice for, we're doing like little flower beds and whatnot, because I've got the one on the tractor, which is 5 feet wide, and it's just too big to do some areas. So again, they all have their purpose, but we wanted to do nice big areas like along the road where we plant the sunflowers. That's a big long strip there, 150 feet or more, and we wanted to do that. And I used that hand tiller the first couple years, and it just took forever, beat you up. So that's why I love this one so much. Margaret says if she had a tractor, she'd want a backhoe. Well, I do have a tractor and I want a backhoe, so I can relate to that. But keep that in mind for when you do get a tractor. Phil here he's talking about an IBEX drum mower. Best way I found to mow hay with a compact tractor. I'm not real familiar with what that is or how that works. But again, if you're cutting hay, then obviously you're going to want that attachment. I don't have enough property to cut hay, so that attachment wouldn't, be attractive to me. But certainly if I needed to cut hay, I'm sure it would be. And broken profit here, the grapple's the most fun to use. That's what I was saying. Anytime I use that grapple, it's just amazing, because I go out and I will push a bunch of brush together, and then you can just take the grapple and it's like having a hand. Of course, the Artilian now makes a grapple called the Iron Fist. So most grapples just open and close. They're kind of shaped like this, and the top just clamps down, which is extremely useful. But now Artilian came out with this Iron Fist. I know John Ritter has one. You can see it on his channel. Um, but and Brock has one, and I think Messick did a video on one. I don't know if Tim has one on Tractor Time with Tim, but anyway, the current design of grapples has basically one pivot point. The bottom is stationary, and the top pivots down like that and clamps down, and it's very useful. The Artilian grapple now that they have has two pivot points, so it is like a hand, like a fist. And when you see this thing in action, it's actually closing like a hand, like that. So you can really get smaller brush. You can get a good grip on things. It has dual. It's like two hands basically. So if you have an oddly shaped log or something, one side will clamp down on the bigger side. Then if it's smaller, it'll clamp around that. But it's a neat it's a neat design, a neat concept. So something quite different than most grapples. I've not used one, but I could see at times. I wish my grapple had. I would like the tines to be closer together because some of the smaller stuff is hard to grab. But if you don't have a grapple, ask Tractor Time or Tractor Talk with Gary. If you don't have a grapple and then you get one, you're going to be like, "This is amazing. How did I not have this before?" So they're very fun. Robert here, great points here. I was going to bring these up too. Forks, brush hog, maybe a stump bucket. I have all three of those as well. I didn't get the pallet forks for the first couple of years. People kept telling me get pallet forks, and I didn't think I really needed them because I had the grapple. But again, specific purpose. There are things that the grapple can't do that the pallet forks can. Things that the bucket can't do that the pallet forks can. Obviously, for picking up pallets, they're great, but also you can use it for picking up a log or pieces of wood. Of course, it doesn't have the part of the grapple that clamps down, so you have to pick it up and be balanced with it. But I've picked up other pieces of equipment with it. I've moved my brush hog from different parts of the property. Uh, to move a piece of equipment, you either have to hook it up or you have to hook a chain to it and pick it up with your loader. The pallet forks are great because you set those puppies wide and you slide under something and you just pick it up and move it, and it's great. Um, I didn't have the brush hog for the first couple of years. I had bought a finish mower, and we really were beating up that finish mower, using it for unintended purposes. We were using it in really tall grass, small trees, and it's not really made for that. It did a good job, it's not made for that. So I ended up buying that brush hog uh, used at the auction. You saw the auction where I won the bush hog, and so now we have the bush hog, which doesn't do a great job finishing anything, but it whacks down, small trees. It's made to just really clear a rough area. So again, specific purpose. And then of course the stump bucket. I have the Artilian stump bucket, and that is great because you're able to dig out a relatively small area without disturbing too much of the ground. So I've transplanted some trees with it. If you want to dig a trench with it, if you don't have a backhoe, actually Artilian calls it a front hoe. Not nearly as uh, as usable as a backhoe because you only have the motion of the front end loader. But still, you can dig down. You can dig a small trench with it. Something you couldn't do with a regular bucket, at least not easily. Um, Twin Brooks Acres, another great point. I didn't even think of this because I don't have a need for one. Snowblower. You see Ross on the land. By the way, Ross, I know you're not watching live because you're out to dinner for your birthday. Happy birthday to Ross. Everybody give it up for Ross on the land. Happy birthday. Enjoy your dinner tonight. Ross messaged me earlier and told me he wasn't going to be here tonight. And I told him, enjoy your dinner and don't look at your phone while you're eating dinner with your family. Don't worry about us. So, but anyway, Ross does a ton of snow blowing. John Ritter does a ton of snow blowing because they're in that climate. And if I had a need for a snow blower, boy, I would want one because they look really fun to use. So good point there. I'm looking for some other comments. Other pieces of equipment. What else have we not mentioned yet? I was thinking about the box blade and the land plane, two pieces of equipment that, again, have a specific purpose and they do the job really well. We showed some pictures last week that Tony G had sent us. He used his land plane on an access road for an animal shelter. He cleaned up the road for the folks out there and just made that access road just smooth and beautiful. So they are really good. And Chris, you're making a good point here too, about the hydraulic top link that you just installed on your tractor recently. Actually, you did the top link maybe last year, and then you just did a video about the hydraulic adjustment of your scraper blade, which really, I mean, you're living, Chris. But yeah, the hydraulic top links. People have said to me I should get one of those, but you need the rear remotes. I know, Chris, you installed the rear remotes. Big project to do there, but I'm sure that can make things so much easier. So good point there. All right. Okay. So what else do we have? What else do we not mention? Backhoe, grapple, finish mower, bush hog. I guess I mentioned the finish mower, pallet forks. Here's Homestead Engineering. Dave's mentioning can't decide between the bucket, the grapple, the pallet forks, the rake, the box blade, the row hipper, the middle buster, the tiller, the brush cutter, or cultivator. Like I said, it's whatever one you're using at the time for that specific purpose. You're like, man, this is my favorite attachment. I love this thing. So yeah, a rake is something I'd like to get. I guess they call them a landscape rake, and they're just basically spring steel, and they're just like a rake. But if you're making trails and whatnot, I can see where that would be really nice for cleaning up a property or a trail or whatnot. I just thought of something else. My other favorite attachment. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with for number one, but my Woodland Mills wood chipper. You've seen several videos on that. Man, I love that thing. Every time I use it, it's as I say, it is therapeutic to use the wood chipper. It's a lot of work. It's very physical, but it's soothing and it's well, if you like shredding paper, you would like a wood chipper. Sometimes if you have a paper shredder and you're just feeding paper in the paper shredder, that's kind of therapeutic, don't you think? Like just watching it chip away. The wood chipper is great because you condense these branches into such a nice pile of chips, and you actually get quite a few chips from it. But makes it so much more manageable. I love that thing so much. Now, what I often do is I have the grapple on the front and the wood chipper on the back, so I can grab branches and limbs and pull them out and then chip them. So the two of them together, it's like this is like heaven, But so yeah, for me, I think the grapple and the wood chipper are at the top because I use them the most. Of course, you use the bucket and the front end loader. Like you don't even think of that as an attachment because it comes with the tractor if you buy it with the tractor, But it's basically seems like it's just part of the tractor. But that is in fact an attachment. If you bought a tractor without a front end loader, you're limiting yourself tremendously. So the front end loader is an attachment. So a lot of these things are not possible without that. So that really has to be at the top. We kind of take that for granted. But besides that, the grapple and the wood chipper to me are on the top because I use them a whole lot. So okay, John Ritter, my all-time favorite tractor attachment, hands down, is, tell us, John, because it's either your snowblower or your flail mower. That's one we haven't mentioned yet either. I would also like a flail mower. And our tractor is great because you get to add all these things, which is like getting an entirely new and different machine. Yes, they're expensive, but for instance, my finish mower, new, I think was like $2,500, but that's a 6 foot wide finish mower. Um, if you had to buy a mower tractor with a mower, a standalone mower, you're going to pay over $10,000 for that. So by adding a $2,500 attachment, you now have basically a whole nother machine with a different purpose. So John, but so the flail mower, yeah, I'd like to have one of those and use that because I did a video about that too, the bush hog versus the finish mower. Talked about the flail mower, but from what research I've done, they're again have different purposes. So the bush hog or the rotary mower, bush hog is a brand name. Rotary mower is for really rough cutting, tall grass, small trees, knock it down. Just not necessarily pretty, but just knock it down. And then the flail mower does a finer job than that. It's good for tall grass, also some small trees, but it leaves a little better finish or a better finish than the rotary mower, but doesn't leave a manicured finish. And then you get to the finish mower, and the finish mower has the 3 blades designed like a lawn tractor deck would be, and it follows the contour of the ground. So the finish mower leaves you that finish look, which is why it's called a finish mower. So anyway, John, what's your favorite? What is it? Dave is guessing the backhoe, but I don't think John has a back. Oh no, you do have a backhoe, don't you, John? You have a backhoe attachment. So yeah, everybody's guessing snowblower. Your cab, and that's true. The cab is kind of an attachment. It was an aftermarket Curtis cab on there. Let's see. I'm scrolling down. It may be on here. Okay. David White, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. At least you didn't say I've fallen and can't get up. Well, if you're talking to me, yeah, I got right up quick. I don't know that Daniel did if he tripped on that stair. And maybe he couldn't get up. But again, I'm not being light, Daniel. I know you're in the hospital, and I appreciate you watching us tonight. And I hope we're making you feel a little bit better to know that your friends are all there with you. So yeah, David's guessing the flail mower for John. Well, we'll get back to that. Looking forward to your answer, John. I'll try and find it when you put it up there. But Robert has a question, not necessarily off topic, Robert, because we talk about anything like this. Exploring getting a 2-axle trailer for your Massey Ferguson 25 horsepower tractor. My friend said my 2004 F-150 would not be able to handle it. Would I need a beefier truck? I am no expert when it comes to towing and trucks, but 25 horsepower tractor, I'm guessing, is about the size of my B2601. 2-axle trailer, you'd probably want to get minimum, I would say, a 14-footer because you're going to have the tractor if it has a front end loader on it. If you want to bring an attachment with you, I would say a minimum 14-footer. But I would also say no. I would say no, that you don't need a different truck. I think your F-150 would handle that. I really do. Certainly, folks who have F-150s could answer that better than me. I have a Silverado 1500. I don't have a trailer for my tractor. I have a 5x10 utility trailer, which is rated for 2,000 pounds at least. I put the tractor on it once to bring it to the local dealer, but I wouldn't use it regularly for that. It's, first of all, it's 10 feet long. It's too short. I can't really fit it on there, and especially I can't fit it with any attachments. So I know that 10 feet is too short for that. It's also a single axle. It handled the weight fine, but I wouldn't recommend that. But anyway, the truck pulled it just fine. I've got a 25-foot camper trailer that weighs 4,500 pounds, I think. Silverado pulls it beautifully. And again, that's a half-ton truck. So I think you'd be okay. But that's just my opinion. So I would ask other experts or see what other kind of comments you get here about that. But thank you for asking that. Appreciate it. Update from Daniel. Surgery went well. Have extra plates and screws in the ankle now. Oh boy. Back to normal sometime soon. Well, again, sorry to hear that, but you'll be on the mend before you know it. You know, since you're beyond surgery, I'll tell you this. My wife Anne was carrying, this was years ago, was carrying our grandchild who was like a year old at the time, and she was carrying him down the steps, and she missed the last step like you did. I think she thought there was one more step, but there wasn't, or she thought she was down, but she wasn't. Whatever it was, she missed that last step, and she didn't fall, but she contorted. She saved the baby, but she destroyed her back, and she ended up getting surgery another year later because it pinched a nerve or something. It was just horrible. So that kind of set her up. But anyway, she has some hardware as well. And now is doing well. So I can tell you that with any luck, you won't even notice that hardware once you get to your full recovery. But be safe and count the stairs when you're walking now. Count the stairs. Okay. Did we get? I might be behind on these comments because John's saying so far nobody has guessed it right yet. I know what it is, John. It's a flashlight, right? John loves his flashlights. But anyway, Daniel does say grapple and backhoe. I think grapple's winning here, though. I do. I do. Twin Brooks saying, I'd like to say I'm too tough and don't need a cab, but I'm actually too cheap to buy one. I might compromise and buy a canopy. I didn't think I would want a canopy. And then I got the canopy from Artillion, from Curtis Cab, Artillion canopy. And that was because Ann said she wanted to, she called it a cover. She said, I want a cover on the tractor because out there mowing, the sun's beating down. I thought a canopy would get in the way, but it really doesn't. You just have to be aware not to go under trees and low areas. But then again, you got the ROPS, so you really can't go under low things anyway unless you fold the ROPS down. So I really like the canopy. I thought I was going to be taking it on and off, but I'm basically leaving it on all the time. And I really like it. I like the Artillion canopy because without any tools, once you've mounted all the hardware, without any tools, you can unlatch it and take it off. It's made out of aluminum, so it's not real heavy. It's a little awkward because you have to stand up on the tractor, but I don't think there's any other way to do that. But you can take this canopy off with no tools, and I really like that a lot. And an added benefit, if you happen to have a backhoe, the Artillion canopy can latch on backwards, facing over the back. So if you're running your backhoe, you can have a canopy over there too. So that's worked out really well. I like it way more than I even thought I would. So canopy is a good. I would call that an attachment too. You know, it's an add-on, that's for sure. Okay. Looking for other comments on favorite attachments. A lot of great comments about the truck, so that's good to see. Mike F1570 backhoe is pure fun. Yeah, that's, I've said before, I don't regret not getting a backhoe with mine, but I would have liked to have had one. So maybe next time. Glenn, you feel like you're cheating with the rototiller. I mean, it's just so easy, right? It just works great. Jeffrey Johnson to John. I bet it's the Artillion toolbar system. That is nice too. I have one of those, and it's really handy. And Joe would like a flail mower, but one more year of clearing real heavy brush first. So yeah, that's That'd be good for your for the bush hog, a rotary mower. Um, Tony from Tony's Tractor Adventure, he's got a piece of equipment for like mulching trails and whatnot, and that's a monster. Like that's a beautiful thing. You can probably mulch down. It's almost like a stump grinder, but it does a whole swath, and that would be really fun. Again, specific purpose, but if you had a use for it, it'd be great. And certainly Tony does because they're developing that piece of forested land that they have, the farm. I guess they're going to build a house there, but they built a greenhouse. They put a nice fence up, doing really nice work over there. Okay. Yeah, David, if you didn't have the backhoe, you'd own a mini excavator. I was thinking of that too. Like like I've seen some mini excavators on for sale on like marketplace, and you never know what's legitimate. But I've seen some on there for like $25,000, and I was thinking like that would almost make more sense than getting another tractor with a backhoe because I spent about $25,000 for my tractor and all the attachments. Um, So I could sell the tractor, probably get my money back for it. But then if I bought a new one with a backhoe, of course I'd keep all the attachments, but if I bought a new one with a backhoe that maybe is a little bit bigger, I'm probably looking at $45,000. So I'm spending 20 more. So, if it is possible to get a mini excavator decent for 20,000 used, that'd be pretty nice. Because I think that'd be even I mean, I know that would be even better than the backhoe. So that's fun. I think I would like one. I know I would like one, and even if you only used it as much as you use a backhoe, it'd be great. What's great about the mini excavator is I think that just the versatility. They turn around 360 degrees. They've got the little push blade on the front, so you can fill in the ditch that you dig or whatever you're doing. I'd love to dig out some tree stumps with those and move some dirt. I think I would like that very much so. And Phil is looking forward to getting a grapple soon. So I guess don't know if you have the third function valve, but you need that as well. I just was watching uh, Courtney over at GoodWorks Tractor, and he was installing a third function valve. I think from Summit Tractor, but I think it's a universal valve. I don't know what the outcome of that was, if what people think of that, but you can get different brands. I mean, I don't know if my third function is Kubota or Land Pride. The dealer installed it when I bought the tractor. Didn't even really give me an option. I just said I need a grapple, so they said, "Oh, you need a third function." Like, okay, here it is. It was like eight or $900 for the third function. They installed it, so it was probably a pretty good deal. But again, I don't know if it's the Kubota brand or the Land Pride brand. There's two different ones, which is weird because Kubota owns Land Pride, but whatever. But apparently, the point is you can get a number of third function valves from different companies because I think all it does is diverts the hydraulic fluid from one line to that. So right. There it is. John's favorite attachment is the steering wheel spinner knob. Man, are you serious, John? Are you serious? I've had many people say you need a spinner knob on that steering wheel. I don't know. I don't think I would, but I've heard people love it. So is that true, John? All right, but I guess again, it's an attachment or an accessory for sure. David agrees. Definitely a time saver, John. Okay. I don't know. How much time does it take to turn the steering wheel? Uh, apparently, it makes a difference. I should not judge it until I get one. They're cheap enough to just bolt it on and try it. I always felt like a steering wheel spinner would get in the way of when I'm trying to maneuver, but maybe not. Maybe not. And you're right, Twin Brooks. That's the lowest price attachment of all the things. Seeing some happy birthdays to Ross. Did Ross didn't sneak in here, did he? Hope not. Hope he's with his family. And David over at RCF Polar Express, good point, David. He has a snowblower, but it's a rear snowblower. Most of the ones we see on these other channels are the front mounted snowblowers, but he has one on the back, which really makes a lot of sense. You have a lot of traction back there. You do, I imagine, Dave, you have to rack your neck a lot, which would be probably a little bit frustrating, but I know it works well. You've done several videos on it, and it's a great thing to have. And you don't lose your front end loader capability. Where if you have a front mounted snowblower, you have to take off your front end loader, and now it's dedicated to that snowblower because it's quite a process to put that on. And now you don't have your loader anymore. So with your rear snowblower, you can still have your front end loader, your snowblower. So certainly has a good purpose. And Steve Hendrickson is saying try out a 4-in-1 bucket. I think I heard that Land Pride came out with one of those. I mean, you can get them from different companies, but I believe that's a bucket basically that's like a clamshell that's like a bucket and a grapple all in one. I don't know what the four things are, but yes, I've heard good things about the 4-in-1 bucket as well. Okay. And Kent has the land plane on the tractor right now, so that's a good one too. I did enjoy using the land plane. And Manisto Key has the chipper on the LX right now. Yep. I could use a bigger tractor with the chipper. Mine is right at the limit, but I just don't put as large of branches and limbs in there. Stump grinder, Mark, that's something that I would like to get as well. I can see that being very useful. I've cut down a few trees. I've got a lot more I'm going to be cutting down, and I think a stump grinder would be really handy because even if you cut down a 4-inch tree, you're going to have a stump there that's kind of annoying. You're going to hit it with your mower. Even if you cut it ground level, a lot of times the tree has grown up and it's brought the ground up with it, so you can only cut it so far. So now you've got the ground mounted up to the stump, and you'll either ride over it with your mower, or maybe if you're clumsy like me, you might trip over it and break something possibly. But stump grinder, thanks for bringing that one up. That's a good one we hadn't talked about earlier. And Bob mentioned that the quick hitch is also an attachment. I love that quick hitch. I bought the Harbor Freight thinking I would use it just to try it, but here I am 3 years later, still using it. And it makes things so much nicer to hook up. And then David White's talking about Pat's Easy Hitch, which I've heard terrific things about that. I've seen it in action, but I've never actually used one. And the Pat's Easy Hitch, I think, is a great thing too. But I've never tried one out personally. Alan Ross favorite is the PTO 4-inch chipper. Next up is the brush hog. Yeah. Another one that we haven't talked about, an auger. If you're setting a fence, boy, nothing beats an auger. Compared to the old post hole digger where you have to. I did hundreds of fence posts with that clamshell digger, but an auger is great. I think the best way to set fence posts is one of those drivers, but that's a whole different piece of equipment. That's really involved to get that. So the auger, I had one of those. I don't have one now, but in the past when I did a lot of fence around the property, I had one, and it really is great to have. And what else do we have? Let's see. You're right, David. The wood chipper can give you a slap in the face. That the wood chipper, I've been slapped by that thing a few times. If you have sort of a curved or irregular shaped limb, which most of them are, um, you'll put it in the wood chipper, and then when it grabs it, a lot of times it'll hit an end, and it'll spin that limb around, and it'll come around and smack you. So you got to be. It's best once it starts to feed, step away and let it do its job, because it could really well, it could slap you in the face, and has. All right. So I'm just looking to see if there's anything else. Of course, a rear blade is a very basic attachment, but super handy to have. I used to have a John Deere 2020, and the only attachment I had for it was a rear blade. Didn't have a front end loader. Didn't have power steering. Uh, it was really a big machine for the small property we have, and the only thing I had was that rear scraper blade, and I loved it, but it was, wasn't super versatile because that's all it had. I made a lift for it since it didn't have a front end loader. I got this old piece of pipe, and I welded it and made a 3-point hitch adapter. I mean, they sell these things, but it was just a pole that was about 6 feet long, and I braced it, and I could use that to pick things up with a 3-point hitch. I was pretty proud of myself for welding that together. I was only maybe 20 some years old at the time. BT Handy, would a cab be an attachment? I don't know. I wouldn't normally think of that as an attachment, but it's it's an add-on. It's an accessory. So yeah, I don't think of a cab as an attachment, but there's no rules here. You could call it Is that your favorite? If it is, then we'll say it is. I think we've talked about. I think we've talked about every attachment, at least the most common ones. I don't think we've missed any of the more common ones here. So I'm just going to look a little more. Yep, a lot of repeats here. Backhoe and grapple. Mm-hmm. All right. I'm seeing a lot of high Rosses here, so I guess. Oh, there is Ross. I'm a little behind. This was a while ago, but he stopped in to thank everybody. Oh, good. Your water went down on the trench. That's good to see. All right, I need to skip ahead here to make sure that. There's our friend Dave from Pale Horse Outdoors. Good to see you, Dave. Dave put out a video the other day for the first time in a while because the weather's not been real cooperative out there where he is. The spinner, John, is 100% correct. You won't regret it. All right, that's on my list then. Spinner knob. I could dial it up on Amazon tonight and have it tomorrow, right? That's how it works. One time I ordered something on Amazon in the morning and I had it that afternoon. And that just is mind boggling that can happen. I guess we'll get used to it. I was driving the other day. We were going somewhere with the GPS, and I was following the GPS, and it was taking me all these back roads. And I said to Anne that if I live to be 90 years old, I don't think I'll ever take GPS for granted. It's like I'm still amazed by it. I've been using it now for over a decade. I'm amazed by GPS technology because I was out there driving saying, I don't even know how I would have gotten here. And I certainly don't know how to get home from here. It just, because I'm directionally impaired anyway, I love it. And, I just don't think I'll take GPS for granted. Struggled many years finding my way around with maps and making poor choices, wrong decisions because my mind just doesn't work that way. I don't have that ability. So, yeah, there's a serious question from David White. A lot of videos about rear augers digging holes, but none of them hit rocks. What do you do in rocky areas? Where we are here, there really aren't a lot of rocks. There's hard ground, clay, and a lot of times the auger will just ride on top. So they're not great because the 3-point hitch has no downward pressure capability. So it's just the weight of the auger, and you just have to hope it breaks through the ground and goes in. I've seen people take another front end loader, second tractor, and push down on it. Might be a little bit dangerous, but I guess that works. But what do you do? How do you put fences up where you have rocky soil or big rocks, up in New England and whatnot? I don't know what you do, because even the ones, the drivers aren't going to work for you because they're going to hit a big rock or boulder. Don't know. David, I hope somebody answers that for you, because I don't have the answer to how they put fences in areas where, as you say, where you grow rocks. There's probably a video about that out there, right? All right. Awesome. What a fun conversation. Let's do a sticker giveaway. Sorry for the limited mobility here. Sticker giveaway tonight. If you're new to the channel, then you're going to enter a phrase in the live chat exactly the way I show it to you. Uppercase or lowercase, doesn't matter. There will be a hashtag at the beginning because that separates the word from other words that might have been presented here tonight. So let me find my page here, and we'll start with this. So, live chat. Stickers tonight. I'm leaving it up to you whether you enter, whether you won before or not. You can decide whether you want to let somebody else win or not. I don't have time to figure that out anymore. Up to you. But anyway, in the live chat, if you're watching live, type the word hashtag grapple. How about that? I was saying grapple was winning the poll here tonight. So let's use the word hashtag grapple. Just like that. Like Eddie did. Eddie Rollins. Hashtag grapple. All in lowercase. That's okay. Brutal Bob. Hashtag grapple. Jim. Hashtag grapple. You can do it in all uppercase. See, like Richard did. Hashtag grapple in uppercase. So that's what we'll do. And we'll hit the draw button here and momentarily. We'll let a few people enter first. Right? Yep. Chris did hashtag apple, knowing he's not going to win. David did hashtag grape apple, not going to win. See, those are examples of what not to do if you don't want to win. But if you do want to win, you type like Chevhead Ed did, hashtag grapple. John, are you serious? Spinner knob ordered and on its way? Well, if you're serious, John, thank you. That's awful kind of you. I'll have it tonight. All right. Well, we have 31 entries. I think we can hit the draw button now. What do you think? I think we can. Let's do it. There it is. Go. Ow, that hurt my wrist. The winner, sticker giveaway winner, Edward Barker. Congratulations, Edward Barker. I think I called you Edward Baker earlier. Anyway, Edward Barker is the winner of tonight's sticker giveaway. Congratulations, Edward Barker. Send me an email, edward@contactmcgtv@gmail.com. I'll need your postal address, and I'll get these in the mail to you as soon as I can. Congratulations again, Edward Barker. Nice. And be sure to join us next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Who knows what we'll be talking about? I'll actually be traveling next week. I'm going to give you a fair warning. I'm going to be on the road next Monday and fully expecting to be right here at this time next Monday night. But if something happens during my travels where I get tied up, we're going to have to play this by ear. We did that before where I did the live stream from the Turnpike. We'll see what happens. But the plan is to be here and do a live stream next Monday night as well. But then keep in mind those other dates for Lee and for John, the Blind Woodsman. He'll be joining us. So with that, this was a fun night. Great start to my week. Again, I've said this before. Every time we do this, I feel like it's Friday. And then I remind myself, oh, it's Monday night. So again, for me, it's a great way to start the week. I hope it's a great way for you to start the week. I appreciate you being here. I hope all of you who are suffering from your ailments and afflictions, especially our friend Daniel who's in the hospital, hope you feel better soon and that you get out of there and get home and start recovering. But for all of you who have expressed your troubles and those who haven't, we're thinking about you. Thanks for being here. I look forward to seeing you next time.